What's up, everyone, and thanks for tuning in for another episode of Two Car Garage. We've got a lot of work to do this week. Number one, let's pick up the pieces from our messed up speedometer that happened a few weeks ago. So we're going to get a new faceplate decal on that, so that'll be good to go. Once we can get the speedometer in, then we'll finish our electrical connections, hopefully get our headlight in the headlight bucket, and then that'll be done. We finished our wheels last episode. Be sure you go back and watch that wheel special, because these wheels and tires are going to look awesome. So hopefully we'll get those mounted up as well. And then we're going to be running out of things to do as we sort of prepare the rest of the bike for the engine install. So stay tuned, stick with us until the end. Be sure you comment, like, subscribe, and thanks for watching. So here's what we're looking at here. Remember when we messed up the speedometer face by smearing all that paint and stuff. So we have to pry off the dial, remove this faceplate, sand it down, remove all the paint to bare steel, and then on the bare steel, the new vinyl decal will stick nice. And then just put back on the needle, put it all back together, donezo. Okay, that actually went a little bit better than I anticipated. Looks great. There's a little bubbling underneath certain parts of it. I'll try to smooth that out before I put it on. But other than that, it turned out pretty good. So let's put this back on, press the needle back on, and then start reassembling the speedometer. Okay, turns out when I tried to pry off the needle, it broke apparently there's like a rod that comes up out of the body that the needle pops off of. Well, when I popped it off, the rod broke, so it's like having an embedded stud now. So now there's no way to attach the needle to the speedometer, and I can see inside where it's broken off. So the speedometer, I think, is ruined. Like toast this time. This time there's not going to be like I can buy a decal off the internet for $15. I think it's actually toasted cheese. Yeah, I honestly have no idea what I'm going to do. I don't think there's anything I can do. I don't think there's any way to fix it. All right, so turns out the speedometer is not going to get fixed this time, but we've got plenty of other work to do, so let's get back to it. Staying positive. Okay, so after much deliberation, like 10 minutes of searching eBay and the internet to see if you can actually find these, you can't. So what I realized is this. This isn't a tack and a Speedo, it's just the Speedo. So when are you ever going to know it's not working? Only when you're driving it. And nobody else is going to drive this thing except me. So if it's just sitting there, someone's going to see this and be like, dang, that's a really nice looking restored speedometer. And I'll be like, thanks, it looks great. And just leave it at that. If I ever find one at a swap meet or something like that, I'll pick it up. But for the time being, just to get it back together, I'm just going to glue the needle back on, put it back together, and set it. You know, we've got these nice wheels now. The only thing left to do is put them on the bike. So let's do it. Rear wheel's on, the rear torque bar is on. We're going to wait to hook up the rear brake actuating rod until a little bit later, like when we get the brake pedal actually installed. The shocks are on the back. Now it's time to move to the front wheel. So let's get the front wheel installed now. Now that the front wheel is on, I've been waiting a long time to put these pieces on. They're just decorative, these lower fork chrome covers, but it's a big eye-catching piece and a lot has to go together before they're put on. So let's put them on now and see how it looks. The next thing that I think we should attach is the footrest bracket and kickstand bracket. This is kind of unique. I mean, usually on every motorcycle I've worked on anyway, the foot pegs, like the footrests, attached to a bracket and that's it. This one, it's sort of a weird bracket that goes, it spans the width of the bike, but then these two holes there on each side, one of the holes just attaches to the frame, but then the other hole is one of the engine mounts as well. And then you have the kickstand coming off the side. So sort of weird, but goes together pretty easily. You can see just like all the other parts that haven't been painted, these have been powder coated. And I just got them powder coated gloss black. So good to go. Let's do it. Another relatively small item on the list of things to get done, but something that needs to get done, is the headlight assembly. So it's just a sealed beam headlight with a chrome bezel around it, but a couple little fasteners here and there. So these old headlights are sealed beam, so you can't replace the bulb. You'd have to replace the entire assembly, which means I probably shouldn't be holding it with one hand, spinning it around right now, because if this breaks, I'd be hosed. What a lot of people have to do, instead of paying $150, if you can even find a replacement, is to cut out the back with like a little Dremel wheel and then like JB weld in a modern bulb. So in lieu of that, let's not break this. I already tested it, however, with a power probe. It works fine. So let's gingerly reassemble it. The carpet pulled back and this little lift there can only mean one thing. It's time to stop teasing with the engine reveal and actually show you how good it turned out. I've had to like crop it out of pictures and frames before. Now it's over on the bench. Let's see how good it turned out, and then we can bring it over, throw it on the little lift, and see how good it looks in the bike. And there it is, the engine's pretty much all in and good to go. That was really difficult to wedge in, I think because of the kicked back front fender and just the way it's positioned in there. It was one of the harder engines to put in. Usually it's easy just to put it under, raise it up, or just slide it right out to the side. That one was pretty tricky. Thankfully I have the hoist right above, so I was able to lift the front end, as you could see. But it's pretty much in there and set. So we've got a lot of little buttoning up to do and a lot of other things on the list, but there's some big things happening now that the wheels are on, the engine's in, so this bike is coming together and won't be too much longer until it is on the road and we are going for our first test drive. So thank you so much for tuning in for this episode of Two Car Garage. As always, if you want to see more episodes, be sure you comment, like, and subscribe. Hit the bell, that way you know when other videos get posted every Sunday, and I'll see you next week. Thanks.